take it away.
Thank you, Elisa. I just wanted to ask, we do want to record this so others who were not able to join us will be able to benefit. And so I just want to have everyone be aware of that. And also, if you're not comfortable with having your face when you speak, just keep your camera off. And also, if you have a question or a comment that you want to make, go ahead and put it in the chat. So thank you for your understanding and help with that. Excuse me. Okay. So I want to start just with just a kind of a warm up, and I'd like to ask you to please take a moment and check in with yourself and see what you might be feeling at this moment. We're in the middle of the day. We're balancing a lot of things. And if you can, find the little smiley face at the bottom of the chat. Just open that up and find a face or an icon there, an emoji that just reflects what you're feeling right now. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but just pick something that works for you. And let's see how everyone is joining us today. Yes, words are great as well. Okay. And Elisa, if you can help us read what's in the chat and just kind of take a read on where everybody is.
Yeah, we have some sleepy emojis, or maybe we're feeling kind of tired middle of the day. Can feel that for sure. I did pour myself a second cup of coffee here. And lots of happy faces, some tired. Samara said she's grateful, and I would say I'm joining her in that feeling. It's been a pleasure to really have the opportunity to take on these Lunch and Learn series and just being able to share with families and hear from them. It's probably one of my favorite parts of my job. So I definitely feel grateful for the time that I get to spend with you guys today as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, so just to continue for another moment, to kind of help put us in a space where we can learn. And we realize you may be eating because this is Lunch and Learn, but as much as possible to have your presence. And so I just want to ask you to just sit comfortably in your chair or on the couch or wherever you are. If you wish, you can close your eyes and then just take a slow, deep breath in. Let it out. And let's do that once more. Slow, deep breath in. Let it out. And in your next breath, as you exhale, think of something you want to let go of for just this hour, whatever that is, something that you have to do an hour from now or whatever. And so when you exhale, just breathe that out. And as you breathe in, think of something you need or want during this hour when we talk about our family meetings. And then take one last nourishing breath and return to the presence of our group. Okay, well, that helped me put myself in the space I needed to be in. So I hope it did for you as well. All right, I'm going to now share a PowerPoint, which will just introduce the idea of positive discipline. Let me get this up on the screen. We'll do our slideshow. So I won't be able to see the chat. And so, Elisa, I'll just rely on you. I'm just going to go through this quickly to put it in the context for our family meetings. And so this is a positive discipline tool that we recommend. And just for some of our new families and those who want a refresher, Element Education has a philosophy that encompasses different ideas and goals. And the first is personalized learning. And whether you're at Dimensions or Montessori, we want to be able to find and support your students' personal interests and goals. Oops, wrong button. And we do that through self-directed learning, where we're promoting student agency. And what does that mean? It means empowerment, encouragement, so that students are partners in co-creating their educational experience with our staff and with their families. We also focus on social emotional competencies. Everybody needs those 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, to navigate in the external world. But we also live in a social and internal world. And so the other 3 R's, and there are more, but we want students to develop the skills of reflection, to be able to process what they're learning and experiencing in their lives, resiliency, so there's perseverance and towards success, and relationships. And so our social emotional learning helps people feel whole. And then development of mastery and autonomy with a sense of purpose. Research shows that when people feel competent, when they have choice and flexibility and find meaning in what they're doing, that is what motivates us. And a whole child focus, so that we're supporting our students in all the learning environments, whether they attend in person or in the home learning environment. And we want to support our families. We do that through parent education, sometimes short-term coaching as needed or desired, and also sharing resources. So what is positive discipline? Some of you have taken our series. Positive discipline has been around for over 40 years. It's a child guidance model by Jay Nelson and Lynn Lott. We use that as our model here at Element. And this teaches social emotional competencies. We use it for classroom leadership, parent education, and for discipline. And it's about creating mutually respectful relationships through the use of encouragement, being kind and firm at the same time, focusing on solutions versus punishments and rewards. So positive discipline promotes self-discipline, and by that we mean doing the right thing when no one is watching, forcing, or bribing, and in the face of opposition. So it's intrinsic. So where does that come from? Well, if we look at our little friend here, he's quite young, and we are all born with the capacity to contribute and feel connected. And so positive discipline is from Alfred Adler, who said that every human being brings the disposition for social interest to contribute with him, but then it must be developed through upbringing, especially through correct guidance of the creative power of the individual. So that's the nature part. It's within us. So what's the nurture part? Well, Adlerian theory says that the primary goal of all children is to feel that sense of belonging, which is feeling connected and loved. And there is our purpose and our connection with Element philosophy. And we also need to feel a sense of significance. That means feeling capable and responsible. And that's developed through contribution, where we give opportunities for our children to develop mastery and autonomy and have choices. And we need all of those. And so we can give connection and love, but we can't give significance. We can only offer opportunities to create that. And our family meetings are a wonderful tool for that purpose. So I'm going to stop share and turn it over to Samara, who's going to help us create a kind of a parenting GPS. Take it away, Samara. Oops, I think you might be muted.
Okay, there we go. Thank you so much, Lois. I'm so excited to be here and to talk about family meetings. First, we want to look at what are the challenges that we're currently facing with our children. And if people want to unmute, they can speak up, or if you're more comfortable in the chat is fine too. But we kind of want to look at what are we currently faced with? There's a reason why you all chose to attend today, and I'm curious what challenges you're currently facing with your children. And I'll start. One that I'm faced with is distractions with screen time and just with being at home. I feel like they're kind of distracted.
I think for me, one of the things that has happened is that my kids don't have the things that they love to do outside the home. And so sometimes they're feeling discouraged. And so I keep feeling like I have to be a cheerleader for them to keep them going as they've lost their theater opportunities, their dance opportunities, their choir opportunities. So I keep feeling like I have to be this cheerleader to keep them going.
So discouraged. Yep, I got that for sure. I can relate.
So maybe we can focus on behaviors our kids do that are challenging to us.
So disobedience. Okay, non-cooperative manners. So not cooperating.
I see.
Single mom, struggling to get it done. Okay, so you want them to help with chores more and getting themselves snacks, so not helping themselves is a challenge.
Yeah, doing homework without nagging, I see in the chat, as well as kids shutting down or closing in.
Okay. Anyone else? Lazy. Sometimes see the lazy behavior.
Whining.
Whining, complaining.
Loud.
Sure. Okay. Great. And then on the flip side, if we were to make a second list, what characteristics and life skills do kids need to be happy, contributing members of society? I'll start with responsible, self-confident,
Teamwork. Independence.
great.
Self-starters. Oh, that's probably one of my favorites. Respectful. You guys have some good words.
Yeah. Self-modulating. Yeah, I like knowing boundaries, like understanding boundaries, healthy boundaries, I'll say. That's one I would add. Okay, great. So it's nice sometimes to have a list of what we're currently faced with, what our current challenges are, and where we want to go. I'm going to jot these down to purpose and opportunity for independence and not demanding. Okay. And then if we're to shift our focus a little bit and look at family meetings, I'm curious, a similar question of what are the benefits and challenges of our family meetings? What do you anticipate challenges being with family meetings?
I think sometimes it could be the family not buying in or not wanting to participate. Obviously, that would be one challenge.
Mm-hmm. What about scheduling? Oh, here, listening but not applying. Yep. We used to do them weekly. Now we do them when I'm upset, so they shut down. So, timing, scheduling, they see them as rules.
So maybe understanding the purpose. Why do we have family meetings?
So a challenge could be unclear purpose. Timing, I'll put timing for the one of, we used to do them weekly, now we do them when I'm upset, so they shut down. So timing and not present.
So, Samara, I wonder if we could ask folks to share, what do they see the potential benefits of having family meetings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to shift to that now. So the benefits, yeah, what do we see as the benefits? Cooperation, for sure. Working as a team. Clear expectations, open communication. I love it. How about collaboration? I want kids to feel heard. Mm-hmm. I like the mutual respect. Well, we're all equals when we come to the family meeting table. Great. Anything else? This is a nice list. Allows them to express their thoughts and ideas. Yeah, they feel heard and understood, for sure. Okay, great.
Okay.
So, Lois, you want to tell us about family meetings? What's involved?
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We are actually going to have an opportunity to practice a family meeting. We're going to do a mock family meeting in just a moment. But I just want to ask people to notice that some of the benefits that were mentioned align with some of the skills, life skills, and characteristics that we just brainstormed for what we want our kids to be like as adults. So I hope everyone received, well, I know everyone received. I hope you had an opportunity to print out or have in front of you the 9 steps for family meetings handout, because we're going to be using that. So I'll ask you, if you have that, to bring it out now, because what I want to do is just walk through the instructions. So you will be going into breakout rooms, and let's see what you'll
Lois,
need.
we have, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
We have about 15 or so people. So I don't know if you wanted to stay in the room or if you still wanted to do breakout rooms.
Oh, thank you. I didn't check the total. You know what? I think it might be fine if we just stay in the main room here, and then it will save time as well. So
Yeah, great. Sounds perfect.
okay. Thanks so much for pointing that out. So just to review again, if you have your handout, the 9 steps for effective family meetings. We're just going to ask probably 4, maybe 5, if they wish, to volunteer to be our family. And what you'll do is you'll just follow these steps, and we'll kind of coach you along the way as needed. And so this is basically a script. You don't have to have any training in positive discipline, no matter what kind of family meetings you've had. This is just a script to follow that makes it very easy. So the first thing is to introduce the idea of family meeting, and the words are there, so you'll read that. Whichever parent is going to lead this. You'll need a talking stick. You can just have a pen or something like that. and we're going to do a virtual talking stick, pass the talking stick in your family. Third is, excuse me, compliments and appreciations. So this is to bring a sense of unity and positivity to start off the meeting, and connection. It's really about connection. And in your mock family meeting, whoever will volunteer for us, you're just going to choose one person to give a compliment or appreciation to. You're just going to make it up as you wish. Generally, we ask that each family member give every other family member a compliment or appreciation. This time, for time's sake, we're just going to practice just each person give one. Number 4 is the agenda. So there's a topic of discussion. In this one, we're going to modify it just slightly. The topic is everyone not being dressed and ready to go when it's time to leave in the morning. And so we just want to modify that to make it real for our lives today. It's being ready on time to start school for homeschool, to start your online class, or in person. And our family can decide which that will be. Number 5, you'll need a scribe. So someone will write down the suggestions for problem solving. Number 6, again, you'll read through these as you go through each one. I'm just kind of highlighting. You only need, for our purpose today, to brainstorm maybe 4 to 5 suggestions, and to do so without judgment. And then for number 7, you're going to review each of the suggestions to see if they're related, reasonable, respectful, and helpful. If there's one that's not, then it's not a solution. And then choosing the solution, number 8, is about reaching consensus. And family meetings usually end with some kind of fun activity. So that's the steps. Very easy. So let's see who would like to volunteer. We need probably 2 parents or caregivers and 2 children. We could have 3 children. We could have a grandparent in the home if you wish. We would like you to put your camera on for the recording. So we understand this is new, and we appreciate your courage. We're going to walk through this with you. So I'd like to know if you'll, I guess the best way to do this is if you'll turn on your camera if you're interested to volunteer, or just put in the chat if we can have 2 adults and 2 kids who would like to help us learn. And it is a contribution, doesn't have to be perfect.
Lois, and then I just wanted to check, we're just there, the part of the participation is they're just going to read the step. Is that correct?
Well, they're actually going to be a family and they're going to do the steps, but to read them as we do it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. So
Ooh,
Rachel.
I see a volunteer. Yay, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for volunteering.
Sure.
Who else would like to be in Rachel's family?
Michelle, if you want to participate in it, if you can't turn your camera on, that would be okay. I see that you put in the chat that you can't turn your camera on, but if you want to participate, that's you're welcome to do so with your camera off, not a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I just can't turn it on right now.
Not a problem at all.
So Rachel and Michelle, am I saying it? Is it who?
My name's Michelle. My daughter's Harlow, and I'm.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I did write that down. I just want to make sure I had it correctly. So Michelle and Rachel, do you want to be an adult or a child?
Doesn't really matter to me, to be honest.
I'll practice being an adult.
All right, thank you. And then Michelle, will you be one of the children?
Sure.
Great, thanks. So can we have one more child and one more adult if possible? It's fun to role play. You get to exaggerate.
I'm happy to be one of the children, and I think we have one more person.
Oh, we have Sarah. Hi, Sarah. What would you like to be?
Doesn't matter. I'll be a child.
You'll be a child. Okay. All right. And so, Elisa, do you want to be the other parent, or do we have anyone else? Okay. So if we can give Rachel the opportunity, Rachel, if you're willing to take the lead here and read through and be the leader of the family meeting. Does that work for you?
Actually, I don't have the script.
So am I pretending that this is our first family meeting and I'm explaining it to the kids?
Right.
Okay.
You're just going to read through the script. So lights, camera, action.
Okay. All right, boys, how about we try something new with everybody in our family? And I was thinking maybe we could sit in the living room where it's comfortable and we can have a family meeting where we can all share different ideas about how we want to make things go better in school or just things that we have going on in our home right now. So we are going to have this talking stick that I'm going to pass around to each of us, and we all get to talk when it's our turn to hold the stick. And when somebody is talking, let's be careful to make sure that we listen to whoever's talking and hear their idea out instead of interrupting, and let's be encouraging to each other.
So Rachel, you can actually read what's in the quotations for each
Sorry.
step. You're doing a great job ad-libbing. That's exactly what's there.
Yeah, get it. Okay, so what number am I on? I'm on
You're
like
on number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so this item is our talking stick, and I'm going to pass it around to help everyone get remember that only one person can talk at a time and that everyone gets a turn. Who would like to start with number 3?
Sorry, I don't have the script. So I'm trying to for it.
So Michelle, do you have the script
Sure.
you can read from?
Yep.
Okay.
I do have it now. So do you want me to read what's in number 3?
Please.
Okay. Each of us will share one thing we appreciate about each member of the family. I will start. I would like to compliment Sarah on her glasses. They look really pretty. Let's see. Oh, and then I guess I do. I would like to compliment Elisa on her smile and Rachel on her hair.
Okay. So thank you. If just for time's sake, you can each take a turn giving one compliment to one other family member. And Michelle, that is exactly how we want it to go, that we recommend, so everybody feels connected and encouraged. So now you'll pass the talking stick to somebody else.
Okay, I'll pass the talking stick to Elisa.
Have my talking stick, and I want to compliment Sarah because she looks really ready to have this conversation, and she's smiling and she looks really happy to be here, and I appreciate that she is.
So you can pass it to
and
Mom.
then here's the talking stick, Sarah.
So let's move it, because and I appreciate that you're encouraging and complimenting each other. So if we want to think of parent-child now, let's just make up something that we might say to our parent or to our child. Who's going?
For a compliment?
Yes.
Okay. I can go. I would like to thank, I would like to appreciate Rachel for being respectful when talking to me. When you were asking when you were asking for us to get together and have a family meeting. I felt very respected, so I appreciate that.
And now you'll pass to Mom.
I'll pass it to Mom.
Do you want me to continue with the compliments?
Yes, go ahead and share one.
Okay, I'm going to pretend, I guess, Elisa, you are my daughter. And I just wanted to say thank you for remembering to put away the dirty dishes in the dishwasher after you ate lunch. That is really helpful to me.
Okay.
You're welcome.
There we go. And so to let each person know that you heard them, you're welcome or a thank you is a way to acknowledge that you heard the compliment. So thank you. All right. Well done. Okay, so now we're on number 4. So Rachel, as Mom, you can take that one on.
Okay, now I want to explain about the family meeting agenda. And the agenda will be placed on a refrigerator so everyone can write down problems that you have throughout the week. For example, we'll notice this week that not everyone is dressed and ready to start school on time. And so I want for us to practice problem solving for this.
And you
Okay,
can
keep
go
going
on,
with
please. Number 5. Yeah.
teach and focusing on solutions and brainstorming. Brainstorming means thinking of as many solutions as we can. All ideas are okay, even funny ones. We will write down every idea without discussion. Let's practice with the problem on our agenda. Who would like to be our scribe and write down every suggestion?
I can be the scribe.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody have an idea of some crazy ideas of how to fix this problem?
Sleep in our clothes.
That's one idea. Go ahead and write that down. What about laying our clothes out before we go to bed for the next day?
Pack breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. What did you say?
Pack breakfast to go.
Pack breakfast to go. Okay. Any other ideas? Okay, so since we have those ideas written down, we are going to use the 3 R's and an H to assess these solutions. So what we want to do is we want to look at these solutions and find out if they're related, if they're reasonable, if they're respectful, and are they helpful? Are there any suggestions on our board that we can tell need to be eliminated because they're not related, reasonable, respectful, or helpful?
I think
Lisa, can
sleeping
you
in
share one more time what they were, what the suggestions were? Thank
it
you.
was sleeping in our clothes, selecting
Okay.
clothes the night before, and packing breakfast. And so I was
Okay.
thinking that maybe sleeping in our clothes was kind of not, it's related, but it's not reasonable, because what if your clothes get wrinkled, or, you know, you're sleeping in them and they're not going to be like fresh in the morning. So I don't know if that's
Okay.
a reasonable solution.
Is everybody okay with crossing that idea off?
Yes.
I am, although
Yeah.
I will say it did
Okay.
help.
Let's cross that one off. What about the other ones? Laying our clothes out the night before or packing a breakfast to go?
Seem reasonable and related.
those both seem like good ideas. Do we want to try one of those things, or should we try both of those things for next week and see what happens?
I would like to try picking out my clothes the night before and seeing how that works.
Okay.
I think we should try both.
Try both.
Maybe that will save time.
Okay. I think it seems reasonable to try both, especially if we could all work together to make our breakfast and put it together and then stick it in the fridge for the next morning. What do you guys feel? Do you feel like that's a good idea? Work together on our breakfast, and then each of us can lay out our own clothes, and then we'll see how it goes for the week, and then we can talk about it next week and see what happens.
That
Does that
seems
sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So that was really good. Let's have a fun activity for the rest of the night. You guys want to play a game together?
Can we build a puzzle?
That sounds fun. Does everybody like to work on a puzzle? Okay.
Okay, so let's give a hand to our volunteers. Thank you. So I want to go ahead and just kind of debrief and process this. So those who were volunteering, so Rachel and Sarah and Michelle, can we just ask you to share what was that like? How did that feel? What came up?
I definitely felt included, whereas I'm sure our family meetings, I think my kids have come to dread because they know that I'm addressing stuff that is not fun to talk about.
Okay, we'll get to that in a
Not
minute.
including that. What's that?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you felt included.
Yes.
And Rachel, I want to compliment you on how you asked questions and worked toward being inclusive. That was great modeling.
Thank you. I did feel like, well, and I guess it will play out differently with your family. I felt a little bit like, still like I was telling them what to do, or maybe guiding them a little too much. I don't know, but maybe it'll be, I guess, more comfortable if it's not an actual role play, if it's your own family brainstorming together.
And this is first try, so it's a process of learning. Thank you for noticing that. Okay, what else? Maybe Sarah, do you want to share what that was like for you?
Yeah, I like the way that Rachel guided the meeting. It felt like everyone was included. She opened the door for conversation, and then going through the R and H was very helpful to kind of pull the ideas together, and then giving options on whether we should try one or both. Definitely gives you the feeling of having an open door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can share also that whatever meets those 4 criteria, the 3 R's and an H, maybe one child would prefer to do one of the solutions and another child would prefer one of the other solutions, and that's totally fine. It's all about consensus and trying things that might work. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other comments from our family? All right, so continuing, let's ask the rest of our group here, what are you taking away? What are you noticing? You can unmute or you can post your comment or question in the chat.
There's a question in the chat about, it says, what does research recommend for change to stick? Is it better to make one change at a time? So I think it was referring back to, we had two choices, and, is it better to do one at a time if there's some kind of research that shows one way is better than another?
Sure. So I see the question from Queen Mary One, so I'm not sure of your name, but thank you for that question. It's really whatever works in your family. I would suggest taking baby steps and trying one small thing and see what happens. Having smaller chunks for learning is always helpful in terms of, just keeping it focused. And even though this is a script for practicing, it's really designed to help you get an idea of the flow of these. And what we suggest in positive discipline is that maybe for the first several meetings, you start with something fun, like planning a fun activity, family activity for the weekend, and just walk through the steps. And once people are used to the way these flow, you can bring in other topics that might be a little more challenging for problem solving. So thank you, and I hope that answers your question. Other takeaways or questions or things that you would like to share?
I do just have one
Hi.
more question. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
have one too.
Go ahead, Rachel, and then we'll take the next person.
Okay. I was just wondering should these problems be like family centered instead of, say it's an issue with one family member, but not so much with another child. So should we bring this to the family meeting, or is it like an overall family problem solving solution? Does that make sense?
Yes, it can be about any individual concern, like maybe there's just one child who's not getting ready on time in the morning, or maybe a child's leaving towels all over the floor after the shower, or it can be something that does affect the whole family, and it doesn't just have to be problem solving. It can be for decision making and planning. Let's say you're needing to buy a new refrigerator. What a great way to include the kids, to ask them to do some research and bring in, the budgeting. And so we can incorporate these as educational opportunities as well. Thanks for your question. Who else? Oh, who else had a question?
Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm on my son's account, so it says Judah.
Okay, hi, Amanda.
Hi, my question is, if you're all presenting solutions in the family, and of course our children are pretty young, so some of the solutions are going to be probably very outlandish or unrealistic. I know we're going to try to guide everyone to come to a conclusion that's like reasonable and realistic. But if certain family members, oh, you never choose my choice, or if they start getting hurt feelings about it, or I just don't know how to everyone to arrive at a good conclusion that's reasonable and still not have people be upset that, well, because in my family, the two oldest are going to be able to rationally reason, and then the younger children aren't. And so they might notice a pattern of, well, you listen to their ideas, but not mine, or helping them to feel valued for their input, but not always. We're not going to go to 7-Eleven before school because that's your great idea because you're 3 or whatever.
Yes, that's a great question. And generally, if a 4-year-old is able to engage in problem solving, that's probably the earliest age to contribute, although a 3-year-old can be there and maybe they share their ideas. And, this is about having a say, not getting your way. And that's the democratic process, which is what this is about. And so, how do we have other tools about encouragement, agreeing maybe we'll do that one next time. There are ways, that you kind of have to be creative and respectful and manage and appreciate their ideas. There are ways of saying no without saying no. That's a great idea, and I wish we had the money for it. let's think of how we might be able to save some money to make that happen, that kind of thing. And so this is one tool where we have other tools for other kinds of behavior challenges or and also this is about starting with compliments and appreciations helps everybody feel recognized. And of course, we want to be able to compliment not just on people's appearances, but their contribution to the family. Samara, did you want to add anything in response to that question? Yes. Or Elisa?
Yeah, and sometimes it's, you know, eventually, yeah, there might be a pattern of choosing some, but sometimes it's the consensus is one of the ridiculous ideas, and you learn through actually trying that of, okay, so we went to 7-Eleven and, you know, we didn't have enough money, or, you know, we couldn't get out of the seatbelts, or we were then late for school or whatever. Sometimes it's just the consensus of the group isn't necessarily what you would pick as the parent, but it goes that way and you just go with it. And then there's a lesson in it as well.
Yeah, I was going to also share, you know, going back to what Lois was talking about bringing in the budget and like making things, you know, there was a point in time when our older girls were probably like in 3rd and 2nd grade, and they were really interested in trying all these different extracurricular activities. And obviously my husband and I knew that there was only so much money in the budget for those, and they wanted to do horseback riding and they wanted to do ballet, and they've done musical theater for a long time, so they wanted to continue that. And so we just said, oh, those are all some like great ideas. Let's collect some information about what these things cost, and then let's have a meeting about it. And we brought our home budget to the meeting, and we said, well, when daddy gets paid and mommy gets paid, this is how much money our household has, and this is how much goes to our rent and to pay the electricity and to pay all these things. So when you break it down, here's the piece that belongs to those extracurricular activities, and then we have to divide it by 3 because there are 3 of you here. So you let us know what you can pay for, and at that point they could add and subtract, so they could do those calculations. And my oldest daughter, without missing a beat, was like, well, that's not going to be enough. And I said, great. So now you have some choices to make. And they were able to make some choices. And I think it just made them feel really empowered. It made me feel like we weren't saying no. And it also was an important piece of our home narrative, which is, yeah, there is money for you to do things. I don't want to walk around going, no, we don't have money for this. No, we don't have money for that. And sometimes we don't have money for certain things, but no, there is money for extracurricular activities, just not everyone and not all of them at the same time. And so that brings that communication piece into the home. And now my kids understand when I say, no, we can't go to Starbucks today, it doesn't mean that, no, we're never going to go, but just not today, not right now. For whatever reason. So yeah, that really reminded me of that time when we had that family meeting. And I remember my daughter going, it's not going to work, Mom, there's not enough money. So I wanted to share.
Thank you for both those points. I do want, there was a question, how often should these happen? We recommend weekly, because once you reach you have your list of solutions, you want to come back the following week and ask, okay, how'd that work that we made our lunches, ahead of time? Or, we laid out our clothes the night before. And if it works, great. And if not, okay, what other ideas do we have to solve this? I do want to bring your attention to the flip side of the 9 steps, that there is a list, you're welcome, there's a list of tips and cautions or things to avoid in doing family meetings. We won't have time to go through all those, but I wanted to turn your attention to that. And just to encourage you to trust the process, because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something about yourself or about your kids. Sometimes kids think of things that we never would have thought of, and they turn out to be great solutions, and to take baby steps. So let's see if we have. We were hoping to also just share our own experiences with family meetings for a moment. So Elisa, thanks for sharing that, and we'll come back if there's another sharing that you want to do. Samara, do you want to just share about your experience with family meetings?
Yeah, I was super gung-ho about doing the family meetings and had my script and had an issue, that I thought, okay, this is going to be, we're going to solve it here. And my kids were kind of like not into it. And I was a little discouraged at first because I think they felt like I was kind of trying to manipulate them or get them to see this was the way. And so they quickly kind of said, we really didn't like that. We don't want to do that again. And so I kind of backed off. We did a few and we kind of backed off. And within our home, it's become, we have regular communications, but they didn't like the formality of the list and the scribe and the talking stick. Although we put up a whiteboard sort of in a central area where people will write things down that come up. So it's kind of become a more informal family meeting process. And that's what works for our family, which is great because, you have to kind of adapt to the people and personalities. And it's a wonderful tool. We just had to kind of adapt it a little bit.
And that's totally fine. Thanks for sharing that. It doesn't have to be formal. Elisa, did you have anything else you wanted to share about your experience with family meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. I was sharing before with Lois and Samara when we were planning for today that our family meetings tend to be around the dinner table as opposed to like a formal separate setting for our meeting because it just works for our family. My husband sometimes works a weird schedule, and so there's like this one meal that we can all be together, whether it's before he goes to work or when he's off or whatever. That's the one consistent time that we can have. So that's usually what works for us. And then we also have a spin on the compliment, and we learned this at Girl Scouts, and we call it peaches and pits. And so peaches being the best part of the fruit and the pit being like not the best part. And so sometimes we'll share either about our day or about something we tried, and we'll say, what was the peach in that and what was the pit in that, and we can kind of go through and share those things, and that's something my girls know and are used to doing, like I said, through Girl Scouts. So we kind of adopted that and taught it to my husband. But that works out really well, and the girls understand it, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you can understand, oh yes, the fruit is the good part and the pit is not the good part that I want to eat. So
thank you. I do want to share, I see people are making suggestions about flip charts or Post-its. So when we started doing our family meetings, we should show you, we just took one of these kind of notebooks, and we started them in 2009. My daughter is 19. I'm a Montessori parent and a Dimensions parent as well, but our daughter's in her first year of college. And as I was looking through these, and this was our agenda, it's really beat up, but we just had this big notepad. And so we would put the items on there. But as I was looking through this, I noticed that all the things that we talked about responsibilities, about cleaning, about screen time, about schoolwork, were all ways to help build where for this year, she's first year college, we have on here that she's going to research the scholarships that she might be eligible for. And, the colleges, and she made a whole spreadsheet of, all the advantages and the timelines and all that. So, even these small little things that are so real in our lives, like not leaving towels on the bathroom floor, these are all skills that when we can address them with openness and encouragement and look to problem solving as a family community, it's really helping build these skills that our kids will need in their lives. So, and it was just kind of fun to see our daughter grow up by having this journal to keep. Okay, I see we're kind of coming up on our 1 o'clock hour. So, Elisa, do we want to take another question or two, or where do we go from here?
Yeah. Well, if we have any more questions, you guys can add them to the chat. We can take about one or two more. But I wanted to point out, Judy was mentioning that you can't grow, you need the pit to grow another peach tree. And so that's I just kind of really warmed my heart because I had never thought about it that way. So I feel like look, you guys taught me something. I walked away with something really good. So I feel really excited about that. And I want to thank both Samara and Lois for joining us today and for adding to our conversation here on our Lunch and Learn series. It is always fun to come in and grow with you guys and be a part of the learning community, both at Dimensions and at Community Montessori. So I really do appreciate you joining us today. Our series will continue. We will have 2 new topics for you next month. If you have topic suggestions, you can always send me an email and let me know what topics you'd like us to cover. We are here for you and to serve you and your family. So we'd love to hear your ideas as well. But thank you both, Lois and Samara, for coming and joining us. And thank you to all of our guests who came and shared, and to all of our volunteers.
Thank you, Elisa, for hosting and moderating for us. And I do want to just put a heads up that we will continue our positive parenting for resilient kids. It'll be part 2. So watch for the dates and registration coming up.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your lunch hour with us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Lisa, I see you're still on. There was a question in the chat if we have any other meetings that were recorded.
Do you want to stop this recording? I think you started it.
Yeah, I will stop. Let's see. I think I go here and stop recording. Got it.
It's